At 6 o'clock, we'll take you to Manhattan for the Sunflower Showdown between Kansas and Kansas State. And over on ESPN Kansas City, Notre Dame hosts USC at 6:30. It's all Saturday on your home for bowl season and the college football playoff. Sports Radio 810, WHB,
right, boys,
ESPN Kansas City.
Sports talk powered by fans. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City. America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Here are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I'm Scott Traylor. He's Kirk Elliott. We are the Racing Boys. Todd Surprise, producer extraordinaire, helping us out here at Racing Boys HQ. Blake back at Sports Radio 810 WHB, spinning the dials for us back there. Kirk, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. How was your Thanksgiving?
I had a good Thanksgiving. You went up on Thursday and had a time with your family on Thursday, didn't you?
Yeah, actually, I went up on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Did you stay in your new house?
Well, it's the old house.
No, I know, but so for people that don't know, Kirk is working his way to semi-retirement. And Kirk, you've got 2 houses now. You live down here in Kansas City, out in Independence.
Yeah.
And you're living in the house that you grew up in.
That's right.
Up in Mount Air, and you're going to stay up there from time to time. How's that going to work out?
Wednesday night, I stayed in that house for the first night in 50 years and 7 months ago. Was the last time I spent a night in that house.
50 years, 7 months ago.
50 years and 7 months ago.
Yeah. How was it? Did it bring back memories?
It was kind of surreal. I woke up the next morning and said, wow, this is back home.
Wow.
It was
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent 2 nights up there. Got back yesterday
Did
afternoon.
you get a TV up there?
Not yet, but we got one on Black Friday.
You did?
Yeah.
TVs are cheap nowadays. Yeah.
Dennis's wife, Sammy, she likes Black Friday and goes, the full route, the shopping, and
right.
Walmart had this big
65-incher.
65-incher.
For $225.
Yeah, but she almost didn't get it. They ran out of those.
Well, you couldn't find one in Kansas City.
But they got her hands on one.
Because Deidre looked for you.
Yeah.
I
appreciate that.
She took a
and
good...
I was curious to see if there were any left in Kansas City.
Yeah, there wasn't any.
Sammy gets there early, when it opens.
Well, that's what most people do on Black Friday.
You have to if you want to get what you want for the price you want.
Right. Yeah.
So, but anyway, we got spent a couple of nights up there at the old home, so that was kind of cool.
You spent 2 nights up there?
Yeah.
Really?
Wednesday and Thursday night.
What did it bring back any memories? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you sit there and
a lot of memories?
Did you think about your parents when you were staying up there?
No doubt. Almost every minute.
Yeah. So that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of cool. So but had good Thanksgiving, and how about you? You did yours yesterday.
My family and we had our gathering yesterday on Friday, and we had a good time. My kids, I always go to my ex-wife Sharon's house, and I hang out with them because my kids are there.
Yep.
And Deidre goes with me, and we had just a great time last night hanging out with Sharon and my 2 kids, Tori and Tristan, and Larry, my ex-wife's boyfriend. His daughter and her boyfriend was there as well last night. It was a good time. We had a good time. We sat outside, Kirk.
Yeah, it was a nice day yesterday.
And we sat outside around a little a little pit, fire pit.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Had enough to eat?
Todd, what'd you do this weekend, bud? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, we Let me get my mic up here. Yeah, we had a good weekend. We had company, so when you're hosting, it's always a little different than when you're going somewhere. But I was on my home base. People know me. I like to be on my home base.
How many people do you have over?
Oh, let's see, about 15 people at our house, 16 people.
Really?
Biggest, it's growing now every year that all these grandkids, or not grandkids, my wife's nieces and nephews are all bigger now, and they're bringing people with them. So it's all, there's more people at the place. So it was a fun time had by all. It was in and out. We watched football, and unfortunately the Bills squeaked that game out.
Oh man, I was so bummed out.
It was just.
I thought Detroit was going to win that game, didn't you?
Going into it, I didn't think they had a chance, and then
they should have won the game.
They should have won it.
They mismanaged that
terribly. No timeouts.
First of all, a 3rd and 1, get the first down.
Right.
Terrible.
That's the number one goal, but it's like,
get a new set of downs.
We're going to settle for a field goal, but they gave the Bills too much time left.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, we did that and watched, and then ate all afternoon, evening again. Then yesterday, my daughter spent the night, in town, so we went and we had dinner last night out.
And your daughter's in college, right?
Yeah, and with her boyfriend, they both live up in Lawrence, and she works and goes to college both. So she works up at Cottonwood. She's a case manager up at Cottonwood up there. So yes, let me tell you, we went out and had dinner last night, and I was expecting a big crowd at the restaurants when we were out eating dinner at around 6 o'clock. It was bare, and
really?
They had a lot of staff at the restaurant that we went to, and I was thinking, boy, I bet they had a big rush earlier in the night, or something had happened and they overestimated on what they were thinking people might be going out to eat on the second night. But we went out to dinner last night and had a good time with the immediate family, the small part of the family. And
it's so funny, and I think the two of you are still in the family atmosphere. But with me personally, it's just a small gathering.
Yeah.
At my
your kids are big.
They're grown up. It's just a small gathering.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. You're able to get together with Sharon and
but when I was a kid,
daughters.
But when I was a kid, we used to go to my Aunt Wanda, her house, and there would be 40, 50 people there.
I told my kids the same thing. My daughter remembers it a little bit, but after my mom passed and my aunt passed,
isn't that funny how when somebody passes away, how that ends?
And it was my mom and my aunt within a year of each other, and that'll devastate a family that kind of. So now each of those families, they still get together, but it's the small sectors have all gotten together.
Right.
But you're right, we'd go there, upstairs, downstairs, back porch, wherever people could fit to eat was how
wherever
it used
to be.
Was at,
right?
So it was fun, and we talked to a bunch of people this week on these recordings that we did, and each one of them kind of shared what they were doing and what they did for Thanksgiving. We cut those out of these interviews today, but if you want to go and listen to those interviews, they're on those podcasts. And each one of them, Kenny Walt, all these guys that we interviewed last week talked about what they were doing for Thanksgiving and what their favorite food were, and Steve Post, all of the guys. So it was kind of fun listening to that.
Yeah, so we've got some sound today from Steve Post, Joe Costello. I don't know if you know who Joe Costello is, folks, but Joe Costello is one of the brightest minds in drag racing, isn't he, Kurt?
Yeah, he does he's on the announce crew for the NHRA National Tour. He's usually at the starting line.
Right.
Alan Reinhardt's the main announcer up top.
But Joe Costello does just an excellent job, doesn't he?
He's got his own podcast, too.
Yeah.
Got his own show.
WFO Radio.
Yeah. Southern, he's a Miami guy. So he loves the Dolphins.
Yeah, he's a Dolphins guy.
He rode out that storm down there.
Did you leave any of that in there where we talked about it? The Dolphins?
No, I didn't.
No.
We kind of eliminated it down just to that's what we're going to tease you guys today. Like I said, this will just be a 5-minute little segment of that interview, but we have the whole interview there up on our podcast, and I'll share that in the link in our comment section. That way you guys can just click on it.
Also, we got an interview that I did this week on Mostly Motorsports with Kenny Wallace and Ken Schrader, and that we're going to play here in just a little bit.
Cool
and when we talked to him, we thought they were going to be racing at Springfield today and tomorrow.
And they've canceled that, didn't they, Kurt?
I guess that they rain forecast in Springfield, which kind of shocked me when it's sunshining where I was.
I called Kirk
Elliott. I was
Elliott.
very surprised to hear that there was like 100% chance of rain this weekend, so they called off this weekend's Turkey Bowl down at Springfield Raceway until February 24th and 25th. I wonder what the weather's going to be like that weekend. But
they're going to test on Thursday, February 23rd. They're going to have a test and tune on that day. Yeah. And then on the 24th, they'll have racing, and on the 25th, they'll have racing as well.
Yeah, Kenny Wallace and Ken Schrader will be back for that. But we were counting on them this weekend, but not to be at Springfield.
No doubt. So. We might get Jerry Hoffman on here a little bit later in hour number 2 to talk to him about what was going on down there and why they postponed this race until February. February. That's kind of
what's the weather going to be like in late February?
That's gonna.
I don't know.
Better keep their fingers crossed. Late February.
Boy, I tell you, you could have a.
You never know what you're going to get in late February
in the Midwest.
Right? Yeah, no doubt. Huh?
Hey, who knows? It may be just fine. So anyway, that's when it's rescheduled, February 24th and 25th for Turkey Bowl 16 at Springfield Raceway.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to.
I thought about going down there on Sunday.
There was a lot of people on social media talking about hitting it because there's nothing,
nothing going on.
And in years past, there's been some races scattered around here in the Midwest. Some tracks that stayed open a little later than another one. So, but this year everybody's buttoned up pretty quick, and so. It's been a long time since we had a race in the Midwest here, So, I knew there was a lot of people that were anxious to go see that race.
Yeah, you couldn't really postpone it to next weekend because there's some big events next weekend.
Exactly.
You got the Gateway Dirt Nationals next weekend at the Dome in St. Louis. You got the Snowball Derby, so it'd be pretty hard to just postpone it to next week.
Right.
With everything else.
And then you have PRI, right, as well?
PRI is
right after
up.
that.
Yeah. Can't wait for PRI show.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that with Steve Post on
the Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the PRI show. The PRI show, the Performance Racing Industry Show, is maybe the best place to get business done for the winter.
Everybody's there.
Everybody's there. Everybody is trying to sell their product down there at the PRI show in Indianapolis, downtown Indianapolis. And it's one of my favorite things to do of the year, to be honest
if you want to go to a place to network, Chili Bowl is one, obviously. That's where I go every year to
Knoxville
see
Nationals
everybody.
is another
Knoxville
one.
Nationals, but PRI show definitely is a place where if you want to get together with people you haven't seen for a long time, that's the place to do it.
Yeah, PRI set up just for that. That's what it's kind of, we know what you're going into there for. So you're bringing out everything that you got, all your new stuff's coming out, all your, so it's kind of like the NAMM show for the music,
Right.
It's the destination. It's where everybody wants to be because, know, that there's nothing going on. So like you said, that'll be a hopping joint coming up pretty quick.
克, Buddy Kofoid picked up win number 13 at Merced. Only 5 drivers have won 13 races in one season.
Yeah, I mean, he just had an epic season.
Yeah.
Winning his second straight USAC NOS Energy Midget Championship, 13 feature wins. And the way he rallied there in the last few laps to win that race, I think it was like running 6th with just about, 5 or 6 laps to go. And he just charged to the front.
Yeah.
And used that outside line to do it.
Man, there's a bunch of good drivers out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right now. And you know what really impressed me, Kirk, is how many good 360 drivers were out there racing. Did you see that?
Carson Macedo being one. He's a 410 driver, but, there was several of the 360
But he
guys
was driving the 21 car out there that Michael Facento usually drives.
Yeah.
Right?
And Macedo checked Mark off his bucket list of winning a national tour event the first night at Merced.
Yeah.
So he got that crossed off his bucket list.
Did you find that surprising that he'd never won a midget race?
Well, a national tour. I don't know if he's won any other kind of midget race, but
I'm sure he's won other midget races, but that was his first USAC national win.
Yeah, but had he raced that many USAC national tour events to even win a race? I don't know how many starts he's had in the national tour.
I don't know, but Spencer Baston ended up running second to Buddy Kofoid. Jason McDougall was third. And Jade Avedisian, what a good run for her. She ended up running fourth in that race. That was pretty good
Yeah,
for her.
pretty solid finish for her.
She's been qualifying pretty good, too, lately.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got a fast race car.
Yeah.
But
wasn't she fast qualifier last night, Kurt?
did they have I thought they just had practice last night.
They just had practice, but I think she was the fastest on the clock last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she Jacob Denny had the fastest in the practice last night with Taylor Reimer, number 2, Dazen Persley, 3, and I see Dazen Persley listed both 3rd and 4th in practice. How can that be?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm looking at the results right.
That sounds
Tyler
like-
Courtney, 5, Cannon McIntosh, 6, Hayden Reinbold, followed by Emerson Axum, Carson Macedo, and Spencer Baston. The top 10. There was a pretty bad accident in the midget practice last night. Kaylee Bryson slipped up high in turn number 3 and 4 and hit that
Those
tire
tires.
barrier
Yeah.
coming out of turn 4 and collected. Who was that she collected there? Spencer Baston got collected up in that.
And did you see that they also had a big wreck at the same spot in the sprint car division as well during the dash? Did you see that, Kurt?
I did see that. Non-wing sprint cars in action last night. It's the USAC West Coast.
You know, that's the
sprint
last
cars.
thing that you want to do is tear your car up during the dash.
No.
Right.
Or even practice. In the case with Kaylee Bryson.
Right.
That's not good. Ryan Timms won that 15-lap dash last night, but Troy Fusion, who was running second, got high just like Kaylee Bryson did into that same tire barrier and collected 5 other cars.
Right.
And they were all like running second, third, fourth, and fifth,
Tore
right behind.
Tore up
them
a
all
lot
up.
of good cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, about 3-4 laps to go when that happened?
Right.
And Timms went on to win the dash.
Tim's looked pretty dominant in that dash, too.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, from where he started,
Right.
he, what was he, like the third or
It-
fourth row, something like that? He was back a little bit
Was he?
when he started that race,
I thought he started up towards the front.
second or third row.
Did he?
But he was able to get to the front within the first couple of laps of that race.
Right.
And charged on from there. They had a big flip on the front straightaway in that race. Troy DeGayton flipped into the turn 1 catch fence and caused a little bit of damage there. He crawled out, was okay, but took him a little bit of time to repair that fence there on the front straightaway.
Right. It took him a while to get that car pulled off of the fence as well.
Yeah.
Remember, it was kind of hung up in there a little bit, and it took him a little bit to get that car out of the fence. But that was a pretty nasty one going down that front straightaway, wasn't it, Kurt?
Yeah. That was, and it got up into the, I think they had a couple of PA speakers up there, and the sparks went flying. I'm just glad he didn't go through the fence. That would not be good on the front straightaway, but the driver was okay, but took him a little time to fix the fence.
Yeah, just a little bit of time. But what do you think of that Ventura racetrack, Kurt?
The part that I don't like about it is that
tire
in between turns 3 and 4, where you got that wall that's not
where you
uniform
exit
around
the racetrack. That's where you exit the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I don't like that, because that seems like that when they put that tire barrier, it sticks out in the middle of the racetrack.
It's not the only racetrack that we've seen that has that happen. Right?
Yeah. But that's worse than Lakeside Speedway to me.
Maybe a little worse than Lakeside. Yeah.
And it's more in the center of the turn more than the
what Lakeside did,
turn 3.
the best thing that Lakeside did is make that wall go all the way down the back straightaway.
Yeah.
It makes it a little tougher to get into those tires, but we still see it from time to time, don't we?
Right.
Yeah.
But they need to fix that at Ventura where that's a little bit more uniform. Change that up. That looks dangerous to me.
Yeah, no doubt. But I love the racetrack, though. I love where it's at. It's
Great
if
setting.
you don't know anything about Ventura Raceway, it's right on the ocean, Kirk, isn't it?
It's a great scene there.
Man,
I mean, the
it's
setting
beautiful.
is beautiful.
Yeah. If you want to go to one of the best visual racetracks in America, you need to go to Ventura Raceway because it is right on the beach. You can walk up and down the beach before the races and then walk right over to the racetrack and watch the races. In fact, Chet, he said that he walked from his motel room to the racetrack down the beach last night.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to go there sometime. Check it out.
Scotty Cook and I, when we traveled, we were up in the Pacific Northwest, and one day we decided we were going to drive down Pacific Coast Highway 101, and we just decided to drive all the way from up in Oregon all the way down. Man, it was the most beautiful.
That's what my mom did, and my mom and my stepdad did every year. My stepdad's an accountant, a tax guy, and after tax season, they would fly to San Francisco, rent a car, drive all the way to Oregon.
Down PCH.
Cross into Canada, spend one day up there, and then back into the car, and then drive back home and back down and get there and fly back home. It was they love that trip. I can't imagine spending some time out there in the good part of the season.
It's beautiful out there, especially when you're driving down Pacific Coast Highway 101 and you just see the ocean all the way down.
It's peaceful, beautiful. Just a peaceful feeling.
No doubt. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to play our Kenny Wallace, Ken Schrader interview that we did on Mostly Motorsports this week. What day did we do that, Kurt?
Thursday or Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Not Thursday. We were eating turkey Thursday.
Yeah.
Wednesday we did that.
Wednesday we did it. So we'll come back. We'll play that interview. It's about 14 minutes long. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Lucas Oil Products, it works. We'll be right back here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. As your power steering pump ages, seal leaks may occur, causing the power steering system to lose fluid. Your power steering system may also develop an annoying squeal, and the steering may become more difficult to handle. By using Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak, you will stop the seal leaks, reduce slack in rack and pinion, eliminate the squeals and hard spots in your power steering system. It is guaranteed to stop seal leaks or your money back. Lucas Power Steering Stop Leak. It works.
Friday Night Lights, college game days, and of course Red Sundays are what Kansas City is all about right now. And nothing goes better with
check. Hey boys, can you hear me?
Kansas City barbecue.
Yes, sir.
Joe's Championship Barbecue.
Do you have control over the gain of their microphones?
Smoked brisket, pulled pork, turkey, and ham
and
are available by the pound. And teamed up with their incredible sides, makes for a game-winning meal for the entire
their
team.
gain down a little bit, and then you can turn their volume up a little bit?
Order on the app, or visit one of their 3 locations. Olathe,
and then just have them roll a quick test for me.
In KCK.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect. Our pledge, drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. Great news as we head into the holiday season, vehicle prices are starting to normalize, and inventory levels are finally coming back up. The manufacturer just announced aggressive new incentives for the Black Friday sales event. To celebrate the new incentives, Victory at the Legends is bringing back the You Choose offer. That's right. This month you get to choose from $6,500 off list or $4,500 off list price plus 2.9% interest,
it brings the
72
levels
months.
down.
This is on select new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock.
Is that a little better?
These trucks are packed with options, including the 5.7.
That sounds good on your part. Have them give me a quick test.
Go ahead and give me a mic check on yours too real quick, Kurt.
Trade-ins are still bringing top dollar. Even if you don't purchase a vehicle from us, we'll still buy your trade for cash on the spot. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall.
You need a little more. I need some.
On the southeast
checking
corner
microphone,
of
doing a test of the microphone levels.
We're online at
Yeah,
victorymotors.com.
it sounds better. It was more gravelly
Enjoy
than
your
I
holiday
thought
weekend with a trip to the Butcher Block at
originally.
your neighborhood Hen House Market for great specials on USDA Choice certified Hereford
We're at
beef.
the Racing
The
Boys
finest
studio.
beef anywhere around. It's
Doing
raised
Track
right in our
Talk
very
here
own
on
backyard.
Sports Radio
and sold
810
Yeah, that sounds good.
at
Okay,
Hen House.
rocking
Get the
over.
freshest produce in town. More than
I appreciate that.
Hen House
No, thank you.
produce is locally raised within 250 miles on 150 family-owned farms. And of course, the Hen House Bakery is the exclusive home for made-from-scratch Tippins pies. Find all their great specials at henhouse.com. Hen House, serving your family and mine since 1923.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Brian Pringle with Victory Ford at the Legends in KCK. As another year comes to an end, it's time to enjoy the holidays, be around the people we love, be thankful for this great city we call home, and help those less fortunate. With each vehicle sold in any of the 9 Victory Auto dealerships in the Kansas City area, a portion of the proceeds are set aside for Giving Hope KC to help purchase needed food and supplies for our local community. At Victory Ford, we strive for you to call us the place you go for all your car needs. So check us out at the Legends in KCK or online at victoryfordkc.com.
Family Leisure's inventory liquidation sale is happening now. Save hundreds, even thousands, on pools and spas at liquidation prices at Family Leisure. All the summer stuff has to go. Backyard adventure play sets, gorilla basketball systems, trampolines, patios, deck furniture, and more. The season's best price is guaranteed. Mention 810 and save more at Family Leisure's inventory liquidation sale. Family Leisure is your one-stop shop for family fun. Take 10 and Ridgeview in Olathe.
913-888-7727. Awesome.
You give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Over 2 decades, Kirk and I have been on this station. It's been a pleasure all these years. Man, it's been a nice long run, hasn't it, Kirk?
Time flies. I'm going to hang out with you a little while longer than I thought.
Yeah, you're not going away. We're gonna reel you back in a little bit.
Yeah, I just didn't, I didn't want to work. I didn't want to work as hard as you.
The podcast might be going to once a week, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a tough gig. 5 days.
But
a week.
if you got
People
you got
don't
1 day a
realize
week,
how tough that is to do 6 days a week. We're on Monday through Friday, doing our Mostly Motorsports at noon every day,
and then up right.
And then up on Saturday mornings, 6 days a week. We're on the air.
But if you do it 1 day a week, I'm good. I'm there.
You're gonna hang out with me. Yeah, that's gonna.
You
be
do
good.
that every day, man. You were doing it every day.
Every day.
That's
we will
a little beyond my schedule.
At the end of this year,
that
we're going to do 312 episodes.
Be smoking
this year. Just in one calendar year, we're going to do 312 episodes, Kirk. How
That's
about that?
a lot.
Yeah, other than daily terrestrial radio, I don't think you'll see anybody that does that many broadcast hours. I mean, your local DJs that do their 4 or 5 hour shows or 3 hour shows, but they have a team too. People don't realize they have a team of people working for them.
That's the thing. People don't realize the effort that goes into lining up guests and doing all that.
Yeah, sitting down and doing the show, that's the fun part.
No, that's easy.
It's what you got to get prepared for leading up to it.
And graphics and videos and all that. So
I usually come down about 3 hours before the show and do a lot of reading before I go on the air.
Handy to do it and in your house, isn't it?
Right. No doubt.
That makes it a lot easier. Well, we had Ken Schrader and Kenny Wallace, the prides of St. Louis, on the other day, and they were supposed to be racing this weekend down at Springfield.
Right.
And when we talked to him, that was the plan, but Mother Nature intervened, so we'll have to wait till February 24th and 25th. But it was fun talking to the two Kennys out of St. Louis the other day. And I think we had them on for about a half hour, but here's just a little bit of that conversation with Kenny Wallace and Ken Schrader. Kenny Schrader is first.
Ken Schrader on the show right now. Kenny, how you doing?
Doing good.
Hey, doing real good. Man, you've been doing this a long time, Kenny. Just talk about your dirt career and what does it mean to you to get out there and race with a lot of these grassroots racers all the time?
Well, I mean, I'm just, we're all just grassroots racers. Some of us just had a different job on the weekends.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all we ever were, was grassroots racer. And we got fortunate that we were able to play in down south in the NASCAR series for quite a few years. And when that was over, we just wanted to go right back to it. And,
right.
Missouri's got a lot of good tracks. The Springfield, town of Springfield in that area down there has a long history of a lot of good dirt racers that have come out of there. and we just like going down there.
Yeah. Let's bring on your friend Kenny Wallace. He joins us now on the show. Kenny, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Kenny Wallace, I want to talk to you. You won quite a few races this year. You had a pretty good season, didn't you?
Well, you know, how do I say this? You know, so for years, I was traveling around America doing a lot of appearances. You know, I'd be in Hibbing, Minnesota, or I'd be in Kinross, Michigan, or out in Wyoming. And I had a good time driving other people's cars, signing autographs, you know, and Kenny Schrader and myself do this.
Right.
But this year, you know, I felt my body. Listen, I've had cortisone shots in my knees. I've got 2 torn tendons. You know, my body's starting to tear up on me a little bit. So I decided to focus on my race car in 2022, and it was calculated. I mean, I decided that I was going to quit getting on those commercial airplanes and quit traveling around America because it was, you know, I mean, I don't like going to the airport. It's a lot of people climbing all over each other.
Right.
And when I was young, it was a lot of fun. But I don't find great joy in traveling anymore. It's a lot. So I woke up every morning, and I was just really focused on my race car. And the other goal that I had was to race at Kenny Schrader's I-55 Raceway. Now, the locals have had enough of it because they've raced there their whole lives.
Right.
But to me, you know, Kenny Schrader and Ray Mahler's I-55 Raceway, it was big. It's bigger than life for me.
Yeah.
So this year, I wanted to run there every Saturday night, and I wanted to see what it was like because I never grew up racing local. So 2022, I spent my time every day seeing what it was like. And, you know, listen, the results were, you know, really good. They weren't, you know, like Larry Phillips or Terry Phillips, but I'm proud of them. And, you know, at my age, I think I ranked pretty good in class. I'm 59 years old.
Right.
You know, me and Kenny Schrader grew up doing this, and you know, I take a lot of pride in my race car, and I like to be competitive.
Yeah.
So it was a good year because I focused on my equipment.
Yeah. What is your favorite set of rules? Would it be a USMTS type rule or a USRA rule? And I know that UMP is very popular around your area. What is your favorite brand of modified racing? I'll let both of you speak on that.
Well,
go ahead, Kenny.
Okay, yeah. You know, to me, I'm already past the real expensive race cars.
Right.
I enjoy good competition, and it doesn't mean you got to spend a lot of money to compete. You know, I guess the best example is I went to Des Moines, Iowa, a Battle at the Barn. It was a go-kart race, and there was about 30 of the real expensive ones and about 300 of what we call the box stock Hondas. And you know, we see that the B mods and, you know, the IMCA modified specifically that Kenny runs, I think they're fantastic race cars. So I believe USMTS is a wonderful series. You have to have the series that, you know, the cars, you know, cost a little bit more, but, you know, it really doesn't matter to me. I just enjoy racing.
Yeah. How about you, Kenny?
I'd have to agree with Kenny 100%. We wound up running a little more IMCA in the last couple years just because we've still our travels have taken us kind of from coast to coast still, and it's easier to find places that run the IMCA rules. But, you know, there's places where IMCA is real strong. Where we're at, you know, we're in the heart of UMP country. USRA has their hot spots. You know, the modifieds, the actual, until you start bolting the engine in,
right,
the actual, everything else costs about the same no matter where you're running.
Right. You know, I've said this many times on my show over the years. that the USMTS cars, and I don't want to throw names out there, but I will. But these MB Custom type cars, the rollers are $35,000. It's getting just a little bit too much, and we kind of see a little bit of a kickback, and we're starting to see low car counts. Our home track here is Lakeside Speedway, and we get 12, 13 cars, A-mods, when they race out at Lakeside Speedway. Do you feel that the cost of modified racing is getting a little out of hand?
Kenny,
yep, definitely.
I guess I'll go first. I always listen to my dear friend and brother Kenny Schrader, and I know what Kenny's going to say, and he taught me a lot. The cost has been rising in racing since the day I started. I remember when my dad raced, and he would say, "Boy, if we could just afford a set of pistons that Larry Phillips has." That's the way it's been ever since I've been a kid.
Yeah.
Now inflation has hit home, where we used to pay $60-$80 for 4-bait, piece of aluminum sheet metal, and
right.
Now we're in the hundreds. I think IMCA does the best at taming that, but even an IMCA car, everything just raises a little bit,
right?
And then we see that. I hate to say it. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it. But that 602, that 604 crate motor,
yep.
In my opinion, it has saved our sport, and I'm thankful that motor's around.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Kenny?
The difference between that MB Custom and different brands, and when you said USMTS, well, a lot of that is shocks and stuff,
right.
Which are a little more limited on the IMCA deal, but that part, the basic part you're buying, it doesn't make any difference. Which if the UMP, USRA, or IMCA, that part's basically the same amount of money, and it just makes a difference on the engine and the shocks and the stuff. But it's ridiculous, and that's why the modified was a cheap class. It was brought in however many years ago, IMCA, and now we see the B-mods so much more popular.
Yeah.
Because engine costs and everything, even though B-mod doesn't cost a lot less than an IMCA modified, but it's just our sport, being as we're all competitors,
right.
Every so often we just have to have a reset because we price ourselves out of business.
You bring up Larry the Legend, and I've got to bring it up. I just don't understand how he's not in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I just don't get it. They changed the rules because of Larry winning so much at Lakeside and I-70 Speedway back in the day when he was winning his championships. It's kind of hard to get my head around him not being in the Hall of Fame. What do you guys think about that?
Well,
he will.
Go ahead, Kenny.
Well, he will be. It's just they only put in whatever it is 4 or 5 people a year,
right? And
he hasn't got in yet. There's a lot, and Larry Phillips, was huge in our mind. I mean, he was huge. He won races from coast to coast, but a lot of other people did too. He will be in there, and he's very deserving, and he'll be in there.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, and I would add one more thing. When they have the NASCAR Hall of Fame, they get a group of people, and those people vote. A lot of media members, handful of race car drivers, people that are in the industry, of auto racing. And,
right.
I've always had the theory that a lot of those media members are made up of the Northeast region, and I believe that's why you saw Cook and Richie Evans get in so quick.
Right.
But I agree with Kenny Schrader. He's going to get in. I wish that they would, just look at what Richie Evans has done. he did his deal regionally, and then he went down to, Florida in the winter. And then, the same, like Kenny Schrader just said, the same with Larry Phillips. Larry did his deal regionally. And to me, they both mirror each other. They both raced for a living when people thought there's no way you could race for a living. I think we're both on the same page. The only thing I would add is that I just feel like, like anything, the Northeast is incredibly popular for media members, and I think that they rule not just racing but all sports. So, I'd like to see the Midwest or the rest of the United States represented a little bit more strongly with media.
Let me ask you both as promoters. Where are we at in the world of promoting races right now? Are we in a fragile area when it comes to promoting races? And because we see tracks like Devil's Bowl Speedway, they've sold their racetrack, Grandview up in PA, I-80 up there in Greenwood, Nebraska, and we see Little Rock, I-30 Speedway going away. Where are we at when it comes to racing? And you guys would speak better than anybody else about where we're at as promoters. Can you give me a little insight on what your thoughts are on it?
That would be Kenny Schrader. He owns I-55 Raceway, one of the most famous racetracks in America. I'm listening.
Well, tell me what part of our country isn't in a fragile state right now.
That's true. Very
okay,
true.
So, and that's when, people look at grandstands, automobile racing, local tracks, anything, everything is a challenge right now. As far as a lot of the tracks that closed up, I'm happy for them because it was the family's decision to sell the property and get a little nest egg instead of keep beating your head against the wall. Yes, we have plenty of challenges, just like every other business in our country does right now. I mean, or not just business, every household has challenges now. So a lot of the places, it's like years ago when the thing was NASCAR left these racetracks. They left Rockingham. They left North Wilkesboro. They never left those tracks. The people that owned those tracks decided it was a good time for them to get out of the business.
Right.
So, some tracks are just going to go away. You can't have a restaurant with bad food and bad service and dirty and be successful. And it's the same with, any business and racetracks included. Now, a lot of them that closed, it was great for them because property value was just time for them to do something else.
Yeah.
And there is Ken Schrader and Kenny Wallace. And
good conversation right there.
The entire interview you can see on the Mostly Motorsports podcast section.
That interview was about 30 minutes long.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was a good
really
interview.
Good. Yeah, and, Kenny Schrader saying, I'm happy for him, I think he's saying there's a payoff at the end of this. That's what he's happy about.
The one thing that I got out of that conversation is modified racing's getting too expensive.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more of Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. We'll be right back here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk. There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Trooper Chad, fly seatbelts. If we don't wear seatbelts, I think we're selfish, especially if you have any passengers in the car. Us as humans, we're just flying missiles. You can't stop yourself from end up in the back seat crushing your infant baby that is restrained properly. Or your passenger can't say, "Oh no, stop," as you fly at them at 70 miles an hour. They're going to kill you just the same as you kill them.
Have you seen that happen?
Yep.
A message from KDOT and your local law enforcement community.
Happy holidays! It's that time of year again for the Subaru Share the Love event at Lee Summit Subaru. Subaru will donate $250 for every new vehicle sold or leased from November 17th, 2022 through January 3rd, 2023 to help those in need this holiday. These charities include the ASPCA, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Meals on Wheels, and National Parks Foundation. And locally, you can choose to support Hillcrest Transitional Housing to help solve homelessness. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
The Bollison Auto Group is an automotive source for dozens of reasons. 3 great dealerships provide everything you need.
We have over 500 vehicles, virtually anything you would want. Ford, Honda, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, and more.
We also service all makes and models. All maintenance and parts, all bodywork and detailing. We keep your vehicle looking like new.
We are the oldest, largest family-owned auto group in Kansas City. Almost 50 years of service to over 1 million customers.
Thank you, Kansas City.
For 11 years, Breaking the Norm has presented the best and most uplifting stories in sports, entertainment, and business, and we wouldn't be here without our amazing partners and you, our faithful listeners. Your stories of life change, loving others, and inspiration keep us dedicated to making a difference in the world, one story at a time. Tune in Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM and Saturday mornings at 7 on Sports Radio 810 WHB for something good, something positive, and something real on Breaking the Norm.
On the podcast, Rewives with Bethany Frankel, join Bethany along with unexpected thought leaders and her celebrity friends to rehash, revisit, and rewatch the most iconic episodes of The Housewives from all your favorite cities.
This season, I sit down with Elizabeth Moss, Kevin Nealon, Susie Orman, Griffin Johnson, and more. You'd think that there isn't much to learn from flipping tables and yanking wigs, but that's where you're wrong.
Listen to Rewives with Bethany Frankel, wherever you get your podcasts.
Tune in for all the college football action Saturday on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Kansas City. Danny and Stan will start things off at 9 o'clock with college football game day. Then we'll go live to the Horseshoe for Ohio State and Michigan. And then at 6 o'clock, we'll take you to Manhattan for the Sunflower Showdown between Kansas and Kansas State. And over on ESPN Kansas City, Notre Dame hosts USC at 6:30. It's all Saturday on your home for bowl season and the college football playoff. Sports Radio 810, WHB, and ESPN Kansas City.
Here at Bob Allen Ford, a lot of things have grown and changed, but one thing remains the same, and that's the Bob Allen difference. We're family owned and operated, and we treat you like family. 'Tis the season to spread some holiday cheer, and we want to thank you for the best gift we've ever received, having you as our loyal customers for nearly 40 years. Thank you for adding us to your nice list. Happy holidays from our family to yours. All Fords are created equal. It's your dealer that makes the difference.
Friday night lights, college game days, and of course Red Sundays are what Kansas City is all about right now. And nothing goes better with football than Joe's Kansas City Barbecue. Joe's Championship Barbecue is perfect for your tailgate or your house party. Joe's smoked brisket, pulled pork, turkey, and ham are available by the pound, and teamed up with their incredible sides makes for a game-winning meal for the entire team. Order online right now at joeskc.com. Order on the app or visit one of their 3 locations, Olathe, Leawood, and the original in the gas station in KCK.
At Robert Brogan's Olathe Kia, their goal is simple. Get you on the road in a car that you love. With a huge selection of new Kias and hundreds of available Kias, you'll find your new Sorento, Seltos, Forte, or Telluride. All trades considered, all credit welcomed. And every new Kia comes with the Brogdon 90-day money-back guarantee. It's Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia at I-35 in Santa Fe or online at OlatheKia.com.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. Want to thank their loyal support for the last 12 years. They've been a big part of Racing Boys for a long, long time. Kirk, we had a chance to talk to one of the most knowledgeable guys in drag racing, Joe Costello.
Yeah, great guy. And, of course, the NHRA season just finished up here a couple of weeks ago. And He talks about Tony Stewart, who's become a big player in racing. Here's a portion of that interview heard earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports.
How much of a buzz did Tony Stewart create by running that Top Alcohol dragster? He did such a good job his first time out, didn't he?
Well, I think you should tell me, Scott. What do you think? Because this is a perfect example. I have my opinion, but I was at the track, and I'm immersed in drag racing all the time, so It was huge, right?
Right.
But you guys, a little more casual. You love the Chiefs. You talk regular sports.
Right.
Was it on your radar? Did it get into your feed as it was happening?
I think everybody in motorsports had an eye on Tony Stewart that weekend.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And there was a lot of debate going on about what's good for the sport and how good can he do before it's bad for the sport. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if Tony Stewart in his first race in Top Alcohol Dragster, a very challenging and difficult category. For those that don't know, there's the Camping World Series, and then right below there's the Lucas Oil and Top Alcohol Dragster and Funny Cars. They are very quick. They are very fast. They are challenging to drive, and the people who are doing it, while they're not considered professionals, they do everything just like the professionals. They spend a ton of money on the professionals. For Tony to just go in and whip everybody's butt in the first race, I don't know what kind of a message that sends, right? But instead, he goes out there and he wins some very close races by doing a great job. And the car he was driving is a championship caliber car that was involved in championship battles at the time. And so I think we learned a little bit about Tony Stewart's, renowned adaptability. And he took drag racing and is taking drag racing very, very serious. He has fallen in love with it. He went out there. He got through some very tough racers, and he went to the final round. And the funny story is he goes up against another young racer, a 20-year-old girl, and wins, Maddie Payne, and she said flat out, she goes, she had been fighting for her own first win as well. She's like, I was very happy to run him because I knew there would be no attention paid to me, and I could do my own thing. And that's exactly what she did. She went out there. They both had good reaction times. They both made good runs, and she won it by 0.02 of a second at 280 miles an hour. And so in a conversation I had with Tony after the race, he was celebrating with Dickie Venables and Matt Hagan in the winner's circle. And, it's all smiles, like, hey, great job. And he goes, do you know how many inches there are in a quarter mile? And I said, honestly, I never really thought about it. And he goes, I do, and I lost by one of them. Because 0.2 of a second at 280 miles an hour is 1 inch. And I think it turned out the best possible way. Tony having a great day, giving it a ride, but unable to drink from the chalice of victory in his first outing. I think he's going to be back. And that's really what everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
Tony go out there and run on a pretty consistent basis and be a part of the sport and battle it out against the regulars and climb the ladder just like everyone else. I can also tell you one more note. He earned so much respect from other racers, top and bottom, through the sport, all ranks, because he made the decision to not try to go top fuel racing first. That would have been perceived as disrespectful, like, oh, man, you can jump in just anything and just go run a top fuel car. And Tony said many times publicly, the dumbest thing I've ever done was get into that top fuel car without having had that experience, and now I know better. I didn't really know. I didn't know what I didn't know. And he's turning out to be one of the best ambassadors for the driver ability that it takes to get one of these cars down the track. Unfortunately, so many people, NASCAR fans, Formula One fans, IndyCar fans, they love motorsports, they love speed, they perceive drag racing as easy because you're going straight, right? And it makes sense. I get it. It makes sense. These guys are turning through corners, at high rates of speed, passing each other. Drag racing, you're in a lane, you're not bumping anybody. I get it. But it's also one of those things where you spend a little time learning about what it takes to be successful, and it's very, very hard. And now Tony Stewart is going through that process. He loves it. He appreciates it. He's telling his story. He's feeling the pain of a 10,000th of a second loss. All of those things are really good for drag racing and people who want to come out and experience the sport firsthand.
That is Joe Costello, NHRA announcer, and I think he's absolutely right. The way Tony Stewart has gone about his business, getting into drag racing, well, he's pretty smart. You know, Tony is a smart guy. He gets it.
It proves once again how talented of a driver Tony Stewart is.
Yes.
You know, there was a time when we all thought of Tony Stewart as one of the most talented drivers in motorsports, didn't we?
Right.
Yeah.
But it takes a different kind of talent to drive a dragster.
Top alcohol dragster.
Yeah. Those are not easy to drive.
They are not easy to drive.
As Joe pointed out, it's a lot different than even the nitro cars, but they're still pretty fast race cars.
And that interview that we did with Joe Costello, that's probably a good 20 minutes, 25 minutes long, isn't it?
We barely touched. We
just barely scratched the surface.
We talked all about the the finals and all the championships and everything.
Right. John Force. We talked quite a bit about that.
So just go to the RacingBoys.com homepage, click the Mostly Motorsports banner at the top of the page, and all of the episodes that you've done since you started this thing are all up there.
They're up there. How many have we done so far now? Do you know?
224 episodes of the Mostly Motorsports.
224 episodes.
That's starting the first day of the Chili Bowl back in January.
So we've done quite a few shows, haven't we?
225 Monday morning.
225.
Yep.
Todd, I appreciate you coming in and helping us out with the show.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, folks, I want to remind you that we will be doing hour number 2 on our Facebook page, Twitter page, YouTube page, and RacingBoys.com. Hour number 2 coming up right around the corner. College Game Day is coming up next year on Sports Radio 810.
What a big day of college football. I can't wait.
Hey, you won yesterday.
I'm going to be watching all of it
Kurt,
today.
You guys won yesterday, didn't you?
In basketball. Beat number 1 North Carolina.
30.
How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Kirk was a happy camper
Iowa
yesterday.
State beat North Carolina.
Kirk has got a big smile on his face right now.
We haven't had a lot to smile about this fall, so, it's all good.
20. All right, make sure you follow us again, hour number 2 on our Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, or RacingBoys.com.
Go Chiefs.
For Todd Surprise, for Blake back at Sports Radio 810 WHB, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor. We'll see you right around the corner, hour number 2.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Good job, boys. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thanks, my friend. Appreciate it.
I won a state championship. I played Division I ball.
Go Chiefs.
I know
Thanks,
a
my
thing
friend.
or two about winning.
Go Chiefs.
The winning attitude starts with confidence. My law firm is so confident in what we do that if we take your injury case and we don't win, you don't pay us a dime. So if you've been hurt, call me. My team wants to win for you. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know. 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Enjoy your holiday weekend with a trip to the Butcher Block at your neighborhood Henhouse Market. For great
in creating problem-solving products to make your car care easier. We protect your vehicle and make it run longer so you can focus on the things that matter most. Whether it's commuting to work, visiting a loved one, taking the kids where they need to go, going to the big game, or anywhere life takes you, Lucas Oil is committed to getting you there for all of life's important moments. Lucas Oil, it works.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
So here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works. There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Missouri's must play getaway. Osage National Golf Resort.
3 9-hole courses to choose from at the Lake of the Ozarks in the Osage River Valley. Stay and play packages in our first-class condos. A beautiful clubhouse complete with pro shop and exercise facilities. A large pool for relaxation and families. The Eagle View Sports Bar and Grill. Great wedding facilities. Go online and make your tee time today.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and if you're not listening to the Racing Boys, then you've got some sort of head problems. You gotta listen to the Racing Boys. Get her done!
Welcome to Hour 2 of Track Talk on the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. Here again are the Racing Boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. Track Talk, hour number 2, right here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Todd Surprise running the show for us here today at RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Kirk Elliott, myself, sitting in. Kirk, how big a smile did you have on your face yesterday when you won that game?
Big smile. We're talking men's basketball now. The football season hasn't been good. I'll just say that. My Cyclones only won one conference game, and they're playing undefeated TCU today. So who knows, how bad that'll be.
So it could be a swing of emotions from yesterday to today.
Well, you never know. In sports, I'm still hopeful that maybe we can pull off a big upset today. TCU fans don't want to hear about that. That would spoil their playoff chances if that were to happen. But basketball, off to a great start, and they played the number one team in the nation last night, North Carolina. I listened to the first half on the radio coming back. North Carolina announcers I listened to on the Sirius satellite.
I bet they weren't happy.
I was listening to the North Carolina guys do the game.
Right.
They were crying, wasn't they?
They were hanging in first half, and then I got home in time to watch the second half on TV. So it was cool.
It was the main story on ESPN. We're watching a little video. We're not going to pull it up for copyright.
Pete's a little pumped up. He said number 3 Michigan at number 2 Ohio State today.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be locked and loaded on that. I think Michigan gets it done today.
Blake, on the first hour, telling us how he's got that thing recorded, too, just in case he misses some of it. So he ain't the only one.
So who's this Irene Cara?
Yeah, the singer that did the song "Fame" and a couple other
Flashdance.
Yep, Flashdance. She had
Fame singer.
Yep, she was there during that It was during kind of that disco-y area, So she had some other songs in that area, but yeah, just 63 years old. Hate to see.
Look, there's your team, Kirk.
He's watching. He's got.
Yeah, North Carolina made it to the championship game and lost to Kansas. In the championship game last March. And guess what happened after North Carolina North Carolina lost? Kansas lost their game last night.
They did?
Tennessee.
Yeah, they got beat.
Right after that.
They did.
KU got beat, and they barely squeaked it out the day before.
They played 2 games in one day?
No.
Back-to-back games.
They played, back-to-back days, but not 2 games in one day.
No. But this tournament they're playing in, they squeaked out that win in a last-second miss bucket put back, and then.
So the 2 teams that were in the championship game of the.
Todd, can you find that? Can you find the girl that sings Flashdance? And maybe we'll play a little bit of her music right there.
So anyway, the 2 teams that made the championship game of the NCAA Final Four last year both lost in a span of hours, back to back. North Carolina followed by Kansas. So both of them went down.
How about that? Well, Pete's a little excited about this game.
That's going to be a big game. Can't wait to watch it. The Ohio State, Michigan. I think that starts at 11 o'clock this morning.
Right. Frog and Marvin, Steve, Larry Walters is checked in. Kelly, she's checked. Kelly, he's checked in. Kelly is a he, just so you know. Remember, I made that mistake the other day.
Now.
I got to be careful with that. That cost me an employee the other day. Here we go. So this is her singing this song, right?
And everybody remembers this movie, obviously.
Oh, I remember this.
But that's her singing, yeah.
But a slow glowing dream.
I forgot how many songs on this soundtrack.
Man, there was a lot of them.
She had 5 songs off this one soundtrack that were pretty big hits. I didn't realize that. This is the song "What a Feeling." You guys remember that?
But they don't show her in the video.
Oh no, because she
pull that audio down just a little bit, Todd.
Yeah,
they don't show her in the video.
No, this is because it's an all soundtrack type.
It says John Travolta and Jennifer Grey were the 2 big stars in this Flashdance movie.
No, that would have been. I don't think Flashdance. This was that was.
That's one of the most famous scenes in all of movies.
What
right
movie am
there,
I
dancing on that chair.
Yeah, that's one of the. I mean, this look right here was copied by everybody. I mean, this song was played on every.
There's a commercial in a laundry room where they.
Yes, sir.
Who is that? What is that? It's a Tide commercial or something.
It's the new Tide commercial where they're dumping this dirty laundry on the guy.
right.
No, the guy I'm thinking about, Patrick Swayze, played in this movie, right?
No, that would have been Dirty
not
Dancing.
right.
That'd be Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. I got that mixed up.
That's
with,
right. Just another dancing movie.
Yeah, I got it mixed up with that other movie I was thinking about.
But yeah, we just learned.
Who was in this movie?
Her. This was basically. It was
about her.
Yeah, it was about this girl who she
wanted to be a dancer.
and she worked at a steel mill during the day, and
I remember the movie now.
And look at
not
it.
so much, Kirk. You didn't remember the movie.
Well, I got it mixed up with Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
I got it mixed up with Dirty Dancing.
There was a lot of dancing movies there, and his Staying Alive and Saturday Night Fever and all those were kind of big. But yeah, it was. Man, we went to a concert this last week, and I think we got another one coming up here. I think they postponed some stuff till January or February, but I went and saw Steve Vai at Uptown, and man, what a great venue to go see a concert at here in Kansas City, man.
One of the best
Uptown
venues.
Theater.
Is there a better venue in Kansas City than Uptown Theater?
For the small, intimate feel.
Intimate setting.
When you can get it sold out, it is really cool in there, man. It's just really neat.
Scott and I went together to see the Marcus King.
Marcus King.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great show.
You know, let me just tell you this, Kirk. I looked up Marcus King's coming back to Kansas City.
He is. When?
Yeah, I saw that. He does one of the football.
He
intros.
does he does the NASCAR intro.
He does NASCAR. And he's got a football song. I mean, the boys across the board now.
He's making it right.
Yeah.
But Kirk, I looked up tickets to sit down on the floor. Do you know how much their tickets are now? What he's bringing? $500.
No way. So where's he playing when he's coming back? Where's
I don't know, but I think it'd probably be up the Uptown Theater. But that's a lot of money.
Too much money.
To be honest with you, some of these acts, they just price people that want to see them, the blue collar people, the people that just barely afford to buy a ticket, can't afford to buy a ticket and sit down on the floor to watch some of these artists.
I went down to the Reba McEntire concert a week ago, and
how much
it
you
was going to
spend?
cost for me to sit down on the main floor, $250 to sit on the main floor. I ended up spending $150 the way it was to get a half.
Were you in the nosebleed?
No, just down on the lower level, but back, towards the back.
Well, I was going to buy Chiefs tickets tomorrow. I had some friends that had some Chiefs tickets. They were giving, actually, it was a raffle last night. I was going to run up and put my name in, but tickets tomorrow, $145 start, which ain't bad, but that's at the top of the dome.
Yeah, but
$250 if you did down a little lower.
If I'm going to go to a Chiefs game, I'm not going to sit down. I want to sit down close to the field.
Yeah, I've done everything. There's not a bad seat unless you're at the very
up there in the nosebleed.
And they're not bad
in the
seats.
corner.
You're just high up.
I've
there.
sat in the corner.
Oh, I've been up there.
You know what? I watched.
Bought a ticket.
Hey,
up there.
what year did the Jackson 5 come to Arrowhead Stadium? Wasn't that like 1983, 4, 5, somewhere in there?
My mother-in-law went and seen that show with her.
I sat in the very corner of Arrowhead Stadium to watch the Jackson 5.
Wow. You were way back from the
way
stage.
up there. You could barely see anybody.
Packed house?
Oh, it was completely packed.
I went to the George Strait Chris Stapleton concert
1992.
92?
92.
Jackson 5?
Jackson 5, the American Dream Tour.
Wow.
I never saw him in concert.
I can't believe it was that.
I mean, that's the one.
I would have thought it would have been in the 80s.
Well, you got to figure that's 92 pretty much feels like 89 when you're.
I know that we get off.
Oh, wait a minute. 84. That would have been the one you saw.
84. That's when I went.
Yep.
84.
Was that when Michael Jackson Thriller
because
was
I
big?
went.
Yep.
I went with Stephanie Buck and her sister Allison, who married one of my good friends, Mark Weaver. And that was the first time they'd went out. And we went to that concert, and we sat up in the nosebleed section all the way up in the corner at Arrowhead Stadium.
Did you take your binoculars with you?
No, I wasn't smart enough to do that. Kurt. Who is the very best concert you've ever seen, Kurt?
Vince Gill and Patty Loveless at Sandstone Amphitheater. That's just me.
Oh, my God. Country.
Vince Gill.
If they're good, they're good, though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you know, good band's a good band, right?
Yeah.
Who's the best you've ever seen, Todd?
My personal favorite is seeing Van Halen at Sandstone. I sat front row for
with David Lee.
All the Sammy years. I saw Dave in the 2 times with them, but I got to sit front row for probably 30 concerts at Sandstone. A friend of mine, her uncle owned part of Sandstone, and so I was able to finagle front row tickets every year for every rock show. So any rock show. So I was kind of biased. I saw a ton of rock shows at
From
Sandstone.
the front row,
dead center, Eddie Van Halen side of the stage. Just, I had a guy come up to me and go, "I just got to ask,
how do you get these tickets?
You've been here every year for 5 years watching Van Halen. The front. How do you get these tickets?" I go, "You got to know somebody, man.
Right.
You got to know somebody." But the best concert I think I ever saw out there was Eric Clapton. I sat about the 10th row. Me and my friend went and saw Eric Clapton at Sandstone just about, week and 2 days after.
Was he as good as advertised?
Yeah. And it was right after Stevie Ray had passed, just a couple weeks, not even a couple weeks, just a week and a half after.
He was heavy-hearted.
And he played some blues that night, and
he played some Stevie probably,
he
didn't
played,
he?
Yeah, and he actually touched it for a minute and set the guitar down, and the other guy played it. It was hurting him. He was having a real hard time that night still.
Because he lost a couple of his crew members in that helicopter
and
crash,
if you remember, he was a pallbearer in that for Stevie Ray Vaughan in that
I
funeral,
saw
too.
Eric Clapton once in concert.
Really good concert.
Wow.
Back in the 70s.
He's not playing now.
Actually, he's just got a new album coming out, and he's touring some right now.
But he's having some finger problems, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he got those resolved. Peter Frampton has quit playing now.
Has he?
Yeah, he's got some issues.
Peter Frampton, when I was a kid in the late 70s, that live album of his.
Oh, that was a monster album.
Oh my God, that was the biggest album.
Was that the biggest live album maybe ever?
I mean, it's the one that everybody, when you say, I mean, Live at Leeds, if you're a Who fan, people go, no way. But I'm not a huge Who fan, so Live at Leeds doesn't really
So
do much
I'm not
for
a
me.
Who fan either.
I mean, I'll watch the Who, don't get me wrong. I love watching documentaries and filmings and all
I
that
like
stuff.
watching it with Keith Moon playing the
He's
drums.
nutty as a loon.
He was
Keith the Loon Moon.
Right.
But no, I'm with you, Kurt. I mean, that live album with him is me growing up as a little kid, Kiss Alive 2 was like the live album when I was, and the reason why they put that album out, he said, we got to have a live album, man.
It's not the best live album in my opinion.
No.
I'm saying the biggest,
It's
most
the biggest,
popular live
most
album
definitely.
ever. Peter Frampton.
What's your favorite live album?
I like,
and this is for the listeners out there too.
Allman Brothers live at Fillmore East.
mine's Bob Seger Double Live Bullet.
I'm gonna agree 100% with Kirk Elliott.
I knew you would like
the
that.
Allman Brothers at Fillmore, right?
Absolutely.
That's got to be the best album ever.
It's a really good album.
And to be honest with you, as crazy as this might sound, I really enjoyed Leonard Skinner's live One More from the Road.
That was a good one.
That was a really good album. Yeah.
They don't put out a lot of live albums.
Why don't bands put out live albums anymore?
I don't know. Maybe there must not be money in it.
Paul McCartney put out a live album once.
Yeah,
that
he
was
did.
Really good.
Peter Frampton's live
Band
album.
on the Run, or whatever that was. What was that live album that Paul McCartney put
Band
out?
on the Run, I think it was.
That was good.
Yeah.
Van Halen, Ozzy, all of them put out, for us rock and roll kind of guys, they all put some
the
really
Kiss
good
live album
Kiss
was
Alive
big.
2, Kiss Alive 1 was the album that made Kiss into
Who they
household.
were.
Yeah, people knew, broke in, but yeah, for sure.
Marie loves the Dixie Chicks.
There you go. We all have our
I
favorites.
saw them, and boy, they put on a hell of a show.
That's what everybody
They're
says.
just called the Chicks now.
That's what I heard. Yeah, the Chicks, right?
Yeah, they don't call them the
They
Dixie
don't like to be
Chicks.
called Dixie Chicks anymore.
Well,
They got a little trouble down south.
they got a little trouble down there.
They opened up their
Right.
political mouth. And
I'll tell you what about those chicks. So they're very talented.
Yeah, no
They're
doubt.
really good.
Steve likes ZZ Top, man.
Well,
ZZ
ZZ
Top,
Top, you
man.
can't
You
go
can't
wrong.
hardly beat ZZ Top.
Let me tell you, my cousin's, that's what he mimicked his whole, we play some of my cousin's music. We play some of Adam's music. Most of the music you're hearing here lately is Adam's, but some of the stuff we used to use at the beginning was a lot of my cousin's music, and his stuff was based all off of ZZ Top, the whole moniker too. 3-piece band. You pay less. Everybody gets more money if there's a 3-piece band. If you only have singer, drummer, and guitar, bass, and drums.
Well, that's what that Joe Bonamassa
Yes,
that
sir.
I saw down there. He just had 3 guys.
That's right.
That's it.
Power trio.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were as good as any band you'll ever see.
Hey, Pete brought up a good one. The band, The Last Waltz.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a really good.
You can watch that on YouTube. You can
Oh
watch
man, that is a great documentary.
Yep,
it's one of the better documentaries of all time.
Yeah,
I agree.
I love watching those Beyond the Music documentaries.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one of my favorite documentaries. And right before we get back to talking race, that the Aerosmith Making of Pump was probably the best documentary I've ever seen as far as
what was it called?
The Pump, their Pump album, which was all their, and it's the making of, and it's one of the longest documentaries I'd ever seen.
Steve Perry and Joe Perry
and
Steve
and
like
Tyler.
each other,
Yeah,
Steve and Tyler. They didn't like each other.
Well, guitarists and singers have a friction. They always will. They always will. And when that friction happens, you get diamonds and sparks from that friction.
Right.
That's
what made Van Halen.
That's what you guys, Dave. There was more fighting. He goes, but what came out of that fighting was awesome stuff.
But let me say this. I think in the end,
they were buddies.
Eddie Van Halen and David Lee Roth liked each other more than they let on.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, when Eddie was sick there towards the end, and when they did their little
set down
thing, you could sense that they really didn't hate each other as much as they did.
The history, when you have that kind of history,
right,
and you've created that kind of a bond and conquering the world like they did, you know. People don't realize. I'm a big Van Halen fan, but people don't realize what was going on in 1978 in the music world. Just pull up a Google search of the albums that were released.
They didn't even want David Lee Roth as the singer, did they? The only reason he was the singer is because he had the equipment.
He was a flamboyant, and he had a lot of money, and he had money, and he had the amplifiers. So, and Michael Anthony had the van. So, I mean, I just tell people all the time, just pull up 1978 in the music world and see the albums that were released, and then Van Halen came out. There was a lot of people say Van Halen killed disco, and they put the end to disco, and rock and roll was there was Rush was out, ZZ Top, all those bands were out, but they had already been out for a while.
You know who maybe the most underrated album of all time was when they had the Extreme Singer.
Yeah, it's a great album.
That
Gary
was
Sharon.
a fantastic album. They only made one album together.
Yeah, and it sold under first only album that didn't sell 1 million copies, and it was.
But it was fantastic, wasn't it?
And the tour was awesome because it was the first time for people that
What's
had
his
never.
name?
Gary Sharon. So that was the first time that anybody got to see him play actual old Van Halen songs, because Sammy Hagar didn't like playing David Lee Roth songs.
Right.
He only played
2 or 3.
The ones that were the money makers, but he wouldn't dig in deep. But
the one that Eddie made him sing.
I mean, you had to.
Right.
You had 3 big hits. You got to sing them. So.
What were the 3 songs?
Well,
that he played?
they always had Jump. Obviously, was their Panama, and then Ain't Talking About Love. That's all Sammy would usually touch. Now every once in a while he'd delve into a couple other songs, but. I'm waiting for there's some new music going to be coming out next year that's going to be really good. So there's some bands that are really putting some good stuff out. I've been hearing some previews of some stuff,
Todd, this is what I love about having you in here with us, because I can talk music.
I just hope we don't bore everybody.
You know, we were talking about great concerts. My all-time favorite rock band is Kansas.
It's a great band.
My first concert I ever saw was Kansas at Memorial Hall.
How about that?
In 1976.
Steve Morris.
Back in the heyday of Kansas.
That's
I saw
when
them
they
several
were
times.
big, man.
I mean, they were
huge.
awesome. Awesome sounding.
In the 70s, you had Head East and Kansas and all these bands that were
REO Speedwagon.
They would come through here and just roll through in the 70s and just conquer Kansas City.
But I love that.
Did you ever go to any of the
I was pretty young. Summer Jams.
Summer Jams.
70.
You were too young.
I was born in 68, late 68, so you got to know that I was, you know, 12, 11 years old.
The most memorable opening.
So I was 17.
Yeah, you were doing it.
I was enjoying it.
The most memorable opening of any concert I've ever seen was a silhouette of Robbie Steinhardt with the violin.
I've seen that.
And the Carry On My Wayward Son.
Yep, that's cool.
A silhouette.
And the way that he was in silhouette.
Yep.
Right.
And the way that started, that was just unbelievable.
Good stuff.
Steve said his first concert was Boston at Municipal
I
Auditorium.
never saw Boston.
Holy
Never saw.
shit, man! If you saw Boston,
I saw
holy cow, man!
Rare. They didn't tour.
They
much.
didn't play much at
So
all.
I saw Boston on their third out. Remember they released some stuff in the 80s, the late 80s.
You saw Boston perform?
No. Steve said he saw Boston.
No, I did
before.
too. The third stage.
You
They came to
did?
Kansas City. They came on their last. They only had 3
At
albums.
Municipal Auditorium?
No, I don't know if he probably saw them during their.
They didn't tour much at all.
No, they were a non-touring band that just kind of.
Well, because their music was so
technical.
There's
a band.
They couldn't duplicate it.
There's
right?
a band.
Guy's named Tom Schultz.
Tom Schultz. So people don't know this. You know, he's an engineer, researcher that worked for Polaroid.
Right.
He invented the Polaroid camera, basically.
No kidding.
He was the patent. His name's on the patent of the Polaroid camera.
This is what I love about
when
Todd
that first
being in
album
here.
when that first Boston album came out, we were talking about Peter Frampton, that live album.
The
That
first Boston album
was enormous.
Hold on.
Crazy.
They didn't even make the second album for like 6 or 7 years, did they?
And then they made a third one like
And
8 years later.
Yeah, the second album sounded almost like
Identical.
the first album.
It's like they had leftovers. They just
But
redid it.
That was it.
everybody, when that album came out, everybody talked about it. That was so huge. That first Boston
I think
album.
it was 1986 is when I saw Boston at Kemper Arena.
Wow.
Steve said it was 1978.
There you go. So he saw him in the original.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's
how many people could say they saw Boston
Like
live?
I said,
That's I've
Holy
never seen
shit.
I've never met anybody that saw Boston.
Oh my
like
god.
I said, the one I saw, I mean, everybody was still in the band, but it was that third album, so it's called the Third Stage album.
They
And
just couldn't duplicate their music. did
no,
they?
it was really a keyboard kind of Deep Purple. There was a lot more. Remember when Deep Purple in the later years
Oh, yeah.
had the Perfect Strangers album with the heavy
Man,
keyboard?
Deep Purple was
That-
one of my
saw them
favorites,
twice, too.
man.
That first
Richie
Boston
Blackmore.
album.
Oh my gosh. In the day, Richie Blackmore was one of the top guitar players, wasn't he?
And he was a strange bird too, man.
Rainbow Rising.
Yep, Rainbow and
Rainbow was his band.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would
He-
you agree, though, that first Boston album is one of the all-time great albums?
Well,
ever
the songs,
produced?
kids nowadays that have no idea who Boston is know some of those songs because they're so ingrained in society. Like
In
it's,
classic rock music.
it is. It's just
Right.
everywhere. It's everywhere.
And we're old enough to remember when it came out brand new.
That's just funny because I forgotten I'd seen Boston, you know, and then I remember thinking, well, I saw them on the third album, and I remember thinking how big a deal it was because they didn't tour
Right.
at all. Saw Triumph as well at Kemper Arena, which was a really good show.
You know who I saw one time that I thought was one of the craziest shows I'd ever seen? Emerson, Lake and
Yeah,
Palmer.
ELP,
Oh,
yep.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
I got one of their old albums.
Let me tell you.
That live out. They got a live album.
They were such a visual show.
Them and ELO, right?
Oh, I don't know about ELO.
ELO had the UFO come down on stage and everything.
Emerson, Lake, and Palmer.
Yep.
Emerson, Lake and
Awesome
Palmer.
album.
Remember when Palmer died and then they turned into Emerson, Lake and Powell?
And Powell, yeah.
Yeah.
I was still in high school when that came out.
What was his name? Gary Powell?
Cozy or Gary?
Cozy Powell.
Cozy Powell.
He
Uh-huh.
died on the Autobahn.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
He got in a crash on the Autobahn and died. I
believe
I
you're
believe
right.
it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I was still in high school when that album came out.
Oh my gosh.
Young men.
How about this, man? We're just geeking out on music today.
We're only
Wow.
we're already 26 minutes into the show and we haven't.
Everybody thinks I'm a country guy. Well, I am, but
You
I
are
I-
a country guy.
I grew up on the rock and roll heavy metal stuff.
I saw
too.
somebody post a photo
Kurt,
yesterday.
didn't you see Led Zeppelin?
Never.
You didn't
Never
see
saw
Led
Led
Zeppelin?
Zeppelin. No.
You saw Leonard Skinner, though.
Leonard Skinner I saw, yeah.
With Ronnie Van Zant.
Right, exactly.
And-
1976.
How about that?
A
And you
year
saw-
before he died in the airplane crash.
You saw the Who with Moon though too, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
saw the
You
Who.
saw Keith Moon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how many people can say
No,
that?
I never saw Led Zeppelin. I never saw them.
You know, that's such a travesty. Led Zeppelin doesn't get together and
Yeah.
play with John Bonham's kid.
Bonham's, they got a new album. He's playing with Sammy Hagar. It's a real album, too. The new Sammy Hagar album's a really good album.
You know what?
It's a really good album.
You know who I'm really impressed with?
Who's that?
Wolfgang.
Got his new album. He's recording right now.
Man, listen, he is good.
He's going to be, I told somebody else, his band is put together like the Foo Fighters. A whole lot like the Foo Fighters band.
Yeah.
Set up a whole lot. The kind of music they play, the way it's set up, a lot of musicians. Doesn't play a lot of like searing, crazy solo stuff. He ain't going to try to be his dad.
Right.
He rips when he needs to, but
Yeah.
he's got a rhythm guitar player. I mean, a lead guitar player next to him that plays most of the stuff. But
I had a crush on Wolfgang's mother back when I was a kid.
She was
Valerie.
She was on that.
She just
TV
got
show.
her divorce just finalized this week. So if anybody, she's,
what?
Yeah, she just got divorced. She was remarried, after.
Who'd she marry?
I can't remember what the guy's name is. He was a
actor.
Nah, kind of out of the business. I think he was in the business, but not in front of the camera, behind the camera.
I got you.
But they just got divorced. I saw she posted her divorce just finalized this week. So she was thanking her stars. But I saw Valerie and Wolfgang at Wolfgang's first concert out at the Knuckleheads. Out at Bottleneck out in Lawrence.
Oh wow.
And
Eddie was standing back off to the side.
No, Eddie was passed away already. This was just this
Oh.
this was when
After Eddie had passed.
yeah.
And we all remember when Wolfgang was a baby. When he
Yeah.
was born, that was a big deal.
Isn't that crazy?
Big deal.
Hey, I want you to get Jerry Hoffman on
I'll
the
give him
line
a
for
text
me.
call right now.
Give him a call real quick. Kirk, let's talk a little bit of racing. The Turkey Bowl got canceled this week, right?
February 24th and 25th, they're going to have that rescheduled. So that got rain in the forecast down in Springfield, which seemed kind of strange for us here in Kansas City because the weather's been great.
It's
Up
still
in
cold,
Iowa,
though.
But it's cold.
How cold is it outside?
But it's cold off because of rain.
Yeah.
It was 30 degrees when I walked in.
That's a little bit too cold for racing.
But I don't know what it's like in, Springfield's 2-3 hours south of here, so usually it's a lot warmer. But
Right.
rain is why they called it off. So they've rescheduled for February 24th and 25th. But Turkey Night Grand Prix is still on out at Ventura Speedway tonight. We'll look forward to watching that. 57 cars showed up for practice last night at Ventura.
60 non-wing sprint cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of non-wing sprint cars. Some incidents happened on practice night last night, including they ran a full set of races for the non-wing sprint cars. They had 6 heat races, 4 qualifiers, and a 15-lap dash. And during that dash, we
Big
had an
pileup.
accident. Yeah, big pileup involved in that incident. And
All right.
So anyway, we'll look forward to that.
Let's bring Jerry Hoffman on. Hey, Jerry, how you doing?
Good, great. How are you doing?
Not the weather forecast that you were hoping for this weekend, huh?
No, it looked good up until Tuesday night. Tuesday night it called high of 58, 0% chance of precipitation. Then I got a text from an old boy about 9:45 and says, "What are you going to do about the rain on Saturday?" And I said, "What rain on Saturday?" So I showed him my weather forecast, and it said high of 58, 0% chance of precipitation. And he said, "Well, I think it's changed." So the next morning it did change. It said 80 to 100% chance of rain. So that kind of puts a dent in everything for Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, this is a big weekend for you down at your racetrack, isn't it?
Yeah, huge. Like the Super Bowl, man. I mean, really it is. Last year we had 336 cars, and that's a great turnout. And this year was going to be bigger.
Yeah, and the late models were going to pay $10,075 to win, right?
Yeah. I thought it'd be good to add a little of that to make a little bit more of an impact from the fan standpoint and the drivers, and it just makes more people look at it, It used to really make a big impact, the $10,075 to win race, but now there's so many big paying late model races that are on all the broadcasting networks that, you're really happy to pay $10,000, but in the late model world, that's not that big of an impact anymore. But I feel like it'll do good for what we have here to bring some more cars. More fans want to watch it on our SpringfieldRaceway.tv deal, and I think it'll be a good deal.
You know, it's so funny that you mentioned about the late model racing right now. If you're going to get into a traveling series and if you're going to try to race for money, late models is where it's at right now, right?
Yeah, it looks like it really does. I mean, for the exposure they're getting with the big the big people that's getting the money somewhere, I don't know how they're doing it. It's kind of amazing. One of these days there might be a documentary and all that. I don't know, but it's pretty amazing the money being paid out to the late model guys.
Yeah.
Jerry, this is Kirk. Just kind of talk about your 2022 season. You had some big events down there. Highlight what happened this past season.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing like the COVID year now. I mean, we were down. We were down this year from the year before with the COVID year was a good year. I mean, people come outside and done stuff, and everybody had a little extra money, seemed like. But it was down, overall. But we had a good year. We didn't have many rainouts until the very end here. And then the wetness kind of hit us here, the last one in October, and then this one here. But it was a down year, but a good year still.
Yeah. How did you end up picking these dates, February 24th and 25th? I know you're going to test and tune on the 23rd. That's kind of sketchy there a little bit in February, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sketchy. It's sketchy in November,
Right.
And really, it gets sketchy any time of the year with weather, but you never know. On the weather deal, they would say that unseasonably cold for November, because usually November's a little bit warmer than now. And I know there's been dates years when we've played football in 60 degrees weather. It seemed like it's Christmas time,
Yeah.
So you just don't ever know. First off, you got to make a plan with anything you do in life. You got to have a plan.
Yeah.
So with racing, you got to have a plan if you own a racetrack. So I've made me a plan. We'll go with it, and then if it has to change, we'll change it. I'm going to change it to the weekend after.
Right.
But I wanted to make sure the Florida deal was over with and talked to a few late model guys. I talked to some series, talked with, Ernie and kind of on his schedule with comp cams, and want to make sure nobody else has anything going. I think that weekend's going to be a good weekend. I think it'll even be bigger than I thought this Turkey Bowl was going to be.
Oh, that's cool.
And next weekend really wouldn't have been an option with Gateway and everything, so you couldn't have done it next weekend.
Nope, you got the Dome.
Right.
You got bad weather next weekend still again, and you got the Dome. Well, before we didn't have the Dome running, so there's one year I think I ran Turkey Bowl December the 5th.
Right.
But you got to move it around to whatever works.
Right. Let me talk to you on the promoter side of things. How hard is it right now to be a promoter in this business?
I could there could be a documentary on me on this promoter deal because I'm more than a promoter. I'm an owner, and I do it with my own money. I'm one of them independent guys. I don't have my grandparents' money, my mom and dad's money. I didn't inherit no money. I don't have no oil well money, natural gas money. It's kind of I'm a racer, an average old boy that thought I wanted to own a racetrack. And I'm telling you, it's tough. I talked to a guy that's running Lakeside. Who's that guy that runs Lakeside? You guys know him?
Yeah.
Bennett, right?
Darren Bennett.
Darren Bennett, right.
Darren Bennett. I knew his name, but I want to make sure you guys didn't have nothing wrong with him or anything.
Right.
I think you guys are pretty diplomatic on everything you guys put out.
Yeah.
I want to compliment you guys on how you always share my stuff and talk about stuff because a lot of the places like you guys have, they only put stuff out on select few races. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't share it all. And you guys do a good job about sharing all kinds of races, and that's great. But, yeah, Darren Bennett talked to me, but it's first time running a racetrack.
Right.
And he told me he's owned his business his whole life. And he said this deal running a racetrack is different, can't even compare. So about promoting and owning a racetrack, it's probably one of the toughest things I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Because it's a different animal, totally different.
Yeah.
But it's been a good education. I've owned it for 16. Well, bought it contract for deed. I didn't ever own it, but now I own it because I bought it and paid for it, so now it's mine.
Right.
So now I own a racetrack, and it's a tough deal. I mean, it's a different animal, and you got to learn how to do it.
Yeah. So what is the most difficult? Let me ask you this. Down there in your area, does the local media give you any kind of coverage at all?
No. Springfield, Missouri won't give me nothing, hardly. No. I had a Cody Johnson concert, and the guy that come here and done the Cody Johnson concert done Poison when they started. Kenny Chesney, Miranda Lambert, and he'd been all over the United States doing concerts his whole life. And he said when he come to Springfield, Missouri, this town, this city would not give him the time of day.
No way.
Why is
that? And I fought it for 16 years. I thought it was just me, you know, being kind of a average old country boy, didn't quite know how to get to the big city slickers deal in Springfield, Missouri, because it's a big city town.
Yeah.
You know? And I thought it was just maybe me, I'm doing something wrong. Then I had a guy by the name of John Snyder here. You ever heard of him off Dukes of Hazzard, Bo Duke?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
He come in here later on that year. His media outlets contacted me. They tried to get to this city. They couldn't do it. They had almost quote for quote, word for word, the same scenario that the Cody Johnson folks had. It's just hard to get to this city. I mean, there's 151,000 here, and there's 300,000 in a 30-mile radius of Springfield.
What?
And my little old dirt track don't get to them for some reason.
Was there a time when the local media gave you some coverage at one time?
No, not much.
Not much. Huh?
Not much.
Yeah.
That one old boy of mine that works for Wheatland, what's his name?
Danny Lorton?
No, the guy that does the PR work and does all the writing, the news media guy.
Lyndall Scranton.
In Springfield.
Lyndall
Scranton.
Yeah.
I think when Lyndall worked there, Lyndall would give us a little love every now and then. I'm not nothing against Lyndall, but I think we had more of a chance when Lyndall was there
Right.
than the people that's there now. Because you can write stuff in there, you can call and talk to them, and it's just not the Hammond Field or not laser tennis. It's dirt track racing. And
Right.
you know, they don't realize Jenny McMurray used to race right here in this track right here when it was a go-kart track.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, this thing's really grew to something. I mean, I think we average 100 cars a night.
Yeah.
I don't want to lie to you, but I think it's 100 or a little bit more on a weekly show. And the Turkey Bowl's turned into probably, I mean, I don't want to say in numbers to top 10 events, dirt track races, because it's not your big late model crown jewel. You know, It's not that. I ain't going to say it that. It's just that as an event, it's kind of turned into Jerry's little jewel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of just the feedback and the message you got this year, and it's just for your grassroots type of classes, and it works out pretty good for an ending year deal.
Yeah.
So the weather gets you.
Well, you know, the biggest thing you got going for you, Jerry, you're one of the best track preparers anywhere around. You do a great job with that racetrack.
Well, thank you. That goes a long ways with me because I don't get to race anymore. And this new generation that wears the flat billed hats and
Right.
stuff like that, and just new generation, you know, they don't even know I used to race. And I used to travel around, race a little bit, and I did pretty decent at times, you know what I mean? But I don't get to race no more, so my passion for not getting to race, I put it into my preparation with the racetrack because I run my mouth before I owned one, and I always judged everybody and thought I'd do a better job. But I always said if I owned one, it's going to be one of the raciest around.
Right.
So I feel like I got to live up to that, and you know, I just try to, if the top's fast, I'm going to make the bottom fast. If the bottom's fast, I'm going to make the top fast.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to make each groove try to be equal, and then I'll put some through the middle to make it be in the middle if I have to. And I tell people when you come to Springfield, you're not only racing the other cars in the racetrack, you're racing Jerry Hoffman too.
Yeah. You know, what I always look for is a good top, a good bottom, and slick in the middle.
Yep. You got to have that. And most tracks get the cushion burn off. And I've noticed the other tracks around are kind of going off my business model on the track prep on that deal a little bit about how they put a little berm around that top for a cushion because this track wouldn't hardly build a cushion when I first got it. So I just went out there and made my own cushion. And I'm trying to get them to do that at the Dome. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but you got to have a little scotch on that Dome deal because that dirt's so loose and it just lays out there. And then the only way the cushion gets built is right against the wall. And then when you hit against the wall, you tear your spoiler off.
Right.
So if you can get that cushion 2 or 3 foot out there already man-made built, you can have them guys against that cushion not tearing their spoiler stuff off, and then you'll have old Bab up there probably really getting her.
Right, no doubt.
Well, I think the configuration of your racetrack is really the ideal situation for weekly short track racing. The way the track is configured, the way you prep it, that's the reason you get so many race cars, Jerry.
Yeah, what you mentioned there is you've noticed, and it's a great point because my track's little, but it's big. It's a little racetrack, but it races like a big racetrack.
Yes.
Because it's wide and it's fast.
Right.
So, a lot of guys don't like to run a little racetrack because they want to run the bigger. So when they come here, they go, wow, got the wrong gear in. wow, you can run in turn 3 a little harder, a lot harder than what they first come here with.
Right.
So, yeah, it just works out.
It's kind of like watching Ventura last night. That track is so small.
Yeah.
It's a 5th-mile racetrack, and it is so small and so narrow, you could barely get 2 sprint cars around it side by side. So
yeah, I mean your track is so wide and racy. It's and the way you prep it. That from where I sit, that's what makes a successful operation is the basics, the track prep, the racetrack. That's the most important part about it.
That's why a lot of people do come here, or the ones that come here and support it, because they know that I tell them right at the big drivers meeting, you guys put effort to come race. I put effort to give you guys a place to race. So through the night, you guys that are race car drivers are going to appreciate what I do, and you guys that really aren't the race car driver type of person, you're just doing this recreation, you don't understand it, and you're the ones complaining because you want 1 lane around the bottom, so you can't pass. But the race car drivers want me to work it, want me to do it, take the little bit of time it takes so they can come race.
Yeah, no doubt. Jerry, we appreciate you taking the time. Again, Turkey Bowl 16 is going to be made up on February 24th and 25th. They're going to have a test and tune on the 23rd. And hopefully that Mother Nature will be good for you during February.
Yeah, I hope so. It'd be nice. If not, we'll do it the next weekend.
Yep, no doubt. Okay, Jerry, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Hey, thank you, guys. You guys have a Merry Christmas.
All right, you too, buddy. There he is.
Hey, I like that racetrack down there. I always have.
Yeah,
and he does a really good job of prepping it. And when you talk about wanting fans to show up and race cars, too often we lose sight of just how important the racetrack and the way it's prepped is.
All right. Do we want to set up this Steve Post?
We can do that.
How about
Postman joined us here on Mostly Motorsports on Wednesday of this week.
Yeah.
He's a weekly guest on your show, Mostly Motorsports, and here's a portion of this week's conversation with the Postman.
Did you watch Merced last night? Did you see Carson Macedo pick up his first USAC midget win?
I did not watch it last night, but I did watch the 7 or 8 minute highlight video this morning, and boy, did he gas that thing up top. When everyone else was kind of moving around everywhere, man, he put that thing up top and he went. And what a great job he did. Once he showed his hand, everybody was up there at the top rim riding as well, but they were all behind him. Carson did a really nice job, and I was shocked that was his first USAC national win. I mean, he was a former Rookie of the Year. The kid has wanted everything.
Right.
I was surprised when I was learning that was his first USAC national midget win. But as he said in Victory Lane, he checked it off the box now. It's something he's always wanted to do. And what better place to do it out in California, where all of his family is around. His brother was racing. What a neat time. He won the 360 race as well. So Carson Macedo, man, what a wheel man, what a talent he is, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And he picked up back-to-back wins. He won in the Wing 360 sprint cars. They had the King of the Thunder 360s out there last night, and he won in the sprint car as well. That's a pretty good night for him.
Yeah, and that was a loaded-up sprint car field.
Oh, it was.
That lineup of cars out there in the sprint car world was impressive, he had a good night, that's for sure.
Yeah. We sit here and we talk about it. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. Do you feel that some of the drivers that are going to race the Chili Bowl feel like they have a little more confidence going in knowing that Kyle Larson's not going to be there? Do you feel like some of the drivers feel like they have a better chance knowing that Kyle's not going to be there?
Well, I think if you break it down just from a simple mathematical equation, yeah. Now, what percentage, I don't know. Because Christopher Bell, I believe, is still going to be there, and Tanner Thorson will show up in something. He'll be there. So a lot of the mainstays will still be there. But it is, Scott, it is going to be interesting to see. So to answer your question, yes, I think they do, because it's one less guy they have to worry about. So I think that they do have a better feeling of confidence. I am going to be fascinated to see what the car count is this year. And I don't know if I believe the car count is going to be less, the Larson effect, where others are going to say, yeah, Kyle's right. I'm sick of dragging my car out there all week long and I'm not going. Or I'm not sure it's going to be like, well, Larson's not going, let's all go, and it's going to be more. So the Larson impact to me is going to be interesting to see what that does to the Chili Bowl car count. And I don't have a good read if it's going to go one way or the other.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Steve. Is it the money or is it the driller that people are after?
Well, it's this is where, and far, I disagree with Kyle Larson is not a phrase that I'm comfortable saying.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But it's the driller. I think it's the driller, but I think there is a principle of it that some people like Kyle Larson and others have said it. He's not the first one that said this. You know, in fact, it's a topic every year when we go out there. That it sure would be nice if the thing paid a little bit more money. Now, I don't get in. It's none of my business what the bills are there. I cannot imagine what renting that building costs and everything else. I cannot imagine also what all of the pit pass and parking brings in, and there's just a lot of that is Emmett Hahn's business and Emmett Hahn's business only. So I don't get into it as far as that goes.
Right.
I think it seems like to me that the race could pay a little bit more, but I think it also seems like to me is that Golden Driller is the big prize, not the $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 if they were to bump it up. I'm not sure it matters, and I think that Driller is really what everyone is there for. And I just think that, and the other thing is just the social aspect of it as well. I mean, it's Scott. You go there, it's a reunion.
Yeah.
The open wheel, the sprint car open wheel world. We get to see each other every year at Tulsa, and we get to see each other every year in Knoxville in August. You run into this one here and you run into that one here, and I'll fly here and do something and see this group. But the bottom line of it is that reunion factor, I think, is big as well. And then to come out of that reunion with a driller, to me, is still the big prize.
There's Knoxville, the Chili Bowl, and then there's the PRI show. All three are social events.
No doubt,
Yeah.
and I look forward to it. I'm actually working the racing electronics booth up at the PRI and lining up drivers' interviews and doing a bunch of things there. But we also build a lot of time into it where I can go walk the aisles and catch up with people, and we can, we're just. The fear was when we started this, and in talking with the folks at Racing Electronics, is we don't want to just be locked down, just do interview after interview after interview for 8 hours a day. You could do that there. There's that many people that you could do that there. So what we're doing is we're blocking it. We're doing an hour and a half in the morning, and then we're taking an hour and a half off, and then we're doing a couple hours in the afternoon, so that way there is the social aspect of it, because it is the PRI show from the industry perspective is just one of my favorite weekends. You just get to catch up with other people and have a good time, and won't be long. It won't be long. A week and a half or 2 weeks from today, actually. I think it is 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
I'll be 2 weeks from now, actually, be sitting in Indianapolis, so it'll be great.
There you have it. Steve Post joining us each and every Wednesday on Mostly Motorsports. And not sure what we're going to do with Mostly Motorsports. Our title sponsor, we haven't got our agreement in place yet with Lucas Oil Products, and we hope that they stay on board with us. But there's a chance that we could be going to 1 day a week, huh, Kurt?
You'll at least be doing that.
Yeah.
1 day a week.
Yeah.
So.
And if we do it, it'll be a 2-hour show.
Yeah. Maybe come in on a Monday and wrap up the weekend and do
set
it
up
like
the
that.
week.
I think I don't think people realize how difficult it is to do a show every day.
Yeah. And you're also tied down. You're tied down so much, Scott. Like if something came up, you can't.
I never leave this house.
Yeah, so
I never leave.
You're able to do it for
I think
1
you're
year.
like me. I'm to the point now to where I'd like to go for a weekend of racing somewhere. Like spend the weekend at Eldora again. Let's do that.
We've got a motorhome outside here that we can run up now. You know what, Kirk? We might have to put a generator in that motorhome.
Oh, there's always something.
But the thing about that old motorhome is it runs up and down the road really good, right?
Yep.
If you drive it at night, it stays nice and cool. You run it up and down the road.
The one thing I learned about being a motorhome owner is you can throw a lot of money at it very easily.
It's like a boat. About another 1,000. That's what a boat stands
You know what
for.
I'd like to do?
About another 1,000.
What I'd like to really do is I'd like to go out to PA, Kirk. Marie said, come to PA,
I'd
boys.
love to do that. I'd love to do that.
How about go out there for a speed week?
And especially my favorite new racetrack that I've never been to, Port Royal Speedway.
Yeah.
I got to go.
Maybe we'll do that next year, Kirk.
I'd love to do that. I've been to Pennsylvania once.
I've taken
Williams Grove Speedway, but I'd love to go back.
I visited Pennsylvania once.
All we need to do is get a 2-wheel dolly for our car to take a car with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
Totally.
you need wheels.
You got to have wheels out
after
there.
you get there.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
I spent a summer in Pennsylvania when I was 15 years old.
But our old generator in the motorhome is wore out. It's tired. It's got a little knock in it. It leaks a little oil. I think they want $7,000 to replace it.
But I've been tied in to the studio for years. We're doing the live video and everything. I'm to the point now to where I want to get out and spend some days at the racetracks. I'd love to do that.
Well,
where I don't have any pressures of trying to do something. I just want to go and hang out and be a fan and
maybe we'll do more of that
watch
this
what's
year.
going on.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That's the biggest problem with doing the show 6 days a week. And I don't think people realize that. We do a show 6 days a week. The only day off we have is Sunday.
Right. Well, we can still do the Monday wrap up after we get home from wherever we're going for the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a perfect setup, I
It's
think.
a perfect setup.
And then it allows everybody that needs to travel, if you got something, and doctors report. People just don't realize sometimes there's appointments that have to be made and plumbers that have to be at your house. And you know how it is, Scott. It's when you own a house, it never ends.
I took the motorhome out to Pennsylvania once. Remember that, Kurt?
Yes.
Pulled the T-shirt trailer out there.
You did it more than once, didn't you?
I think we did it twice,
Twice,
didn't we?
yeah.
Yeah.
Both
you've
years.
been out there more than I have.
And you know what's good? Deidre can go.
Yeah.
Because now she's going to be working from home.
Well,
How about
can
She
she
can work
on
from
the road?
anywhere on the road.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where I'm at in my life. I'm not going to retire being a race fan. Never retire and be a race fan. But if I can be able to go to more races and still be able to talk about it on your show,
Right.
that's perfect world for me.
Be great to run out to PA, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, they're great race fans out in Pennsylvania.
Marie, what would be the best time for Kirk and I to come out there? They got a speed week out there, don't they?
The speed week, or when is that Tuscarora 50 race that they have out there? Is that late August now, September?
I don't know.
I don't know when that is.
But
Speed Week would be the way to go.
Yeah.
The Pennsylvania Speed Week.
Right.
Because you can hit all those racetracks, some of them twice, and get to see a lot of great races.
What we need to do is find a place to where you could have your RV hook up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed at a.
That way you don't have to run the generator.
We stayed at a KOA in Pennsylvania.
Did you?
And I was learning to drive. I had already driven a car quite a bit, but I was driving my dad was dating a little person who trained. She was a golf teacher, a golf pro in North Carolina, and that's how my brother learned to play golf. Was this little gal? But we stayed in Pennsylvania for that whole summer. It was beautiful country, man. I'm telling you, it's really cool.
You know, I like our old motorhome, to be honest with you. It runs up and down the road pretty good.
Whip it into the KOA,
Yeah.
plug it in, and
Plug it in.
Didn't you stay at a place down around Gettysburg or someplace like that?
We
that
did,
had
yeah.
That hood hookup?
Just down the street from Gettysburg.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. We stayed there for a week.
That close to Lincoln Speedway?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somewhere around there, isn't it?
Yeah. It was a good time.
South of Williams Grove.
When we flew home from Pennsylvania, we flew over the old Three Rivers Stadium.
Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh right there. And I remember taking off at the airport where we were flying out of there, and the pilot, this was my first plane trip ever. Me and my brother flew home by ourselves. Might have been the last year TWA was flying out of KCI. But I remember them pointing out, if you look down below, you'll see Three Rivers Stadium, and there's a game being played. You could see the huddles on the field and then break open. It was just, you know how that is when you're a little kid, your first time on a plane. It was,
right.
But they treated you cool back then when you were a little kid on a plane.
Now Three Rivers Stadium is no more.
No more.
You know, Kirk, we could zoom in from out on the road if we needed to.
Well, that's the thing. I said there's some. I was going to show you guys.
I mean, if we went out there for a week.
Yeah, they have some really new streaming stuff that's out right now that I've been looking at.
Right.
That's mobile streaming just for that same thing, because everybody's doing these podcasts everywhere. They're just trying to record. They've got some really cool.
You know what you could do is just zoom in 2 links and have a picture of Kirk in one and me in the other.
And be done.
Right.
But they've got this all-inclusive thing now where you can. It's a broadcast thing in a box, kind of like your old switcher that we had. What was the old system we used to record?
You know, we might end up getting a new switcher eventually. Yeah.
Well, like you said.
Got to get that generator first, right?
Generator might have to come first. I don't know. Never know. We might get a pickup and a fifth wheel. I wouldn't mind trading our motorhome for a fifth wheel.
Then you've got something to drive. You tow it out, you hitch it, you park it, and you got.
That's what my dad had, was a fifth wheel. He loved it.
Yeah,
and for that reason alone, he traveled the country.
I wouldn't mind getting a smaller motorhome with a generator in it.
Yeah,
yeah. Just something that, you know, it's not very big. That it's like a Class B.
But with
something
that
like that.
With that fifth wheeler, you're able to unhook, like you said, have your mobile, be able to go do your shopping and hook back up and blow out of town again. So,
but yeah, I want to go to more races, and I'm transitioning into being a full-time race fan. You know, where I show up and hang out.
All right.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, who's your prediction tonight? Turkey Night Grand Prix, Ventura Speedway.
How can you bet against Buddy Kofoid?
I don't think you can. That's a 98-lap race, and he won the Hangtown 100 last week at Placerville. So, yeah, you have to favor Buddy to win that.
Yeah. I mean, he's on a roll right now. He won 13 races this year. Only 5 drivers have won 13 races in one single season.
Yeah. Odds-on favorite to win, unless mechanical issues that's going to bite him. That'd be the only thing.
Who are you picking, Kirk?
Well, I'm going to go out and say Justin Grant is going to win tonight. How about that pick?
I asked about Justin Grant last week, matter of fact, and I guess he hadn't had quite a good year this year, but towards the end. But
T-Mez hasn't had a really good weekend.
He did win. Justin did win down there at Kokopah.
Yeah,
but that was a
non-wing race.
That was a non-wing race.
Yeah.
But
T-Mez, if T-Mez starts towards the front, you got to take him seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
Or see, it's hard to tell from these practice times. I don't think they really mean a lot. You know, you see the listing of how good they were in last night's practice. Justin Grant was 54th out of 57 drivers.
Oh, man.
I don't think that means a thing. I don't put anything into that at all. But the other guy you want to keep your eye on is Cannon McIntosh. I think he's going to be a
Jacob Denny, he was fastest last night out of everybody.
Right.
He ran a 12:30 with a 7. Tyler Raymer, she did pretty good last night, too. She was second fast qualified.
And Tyler Courtney, Sunshine, in the top 5. Carson Macedo, another driver you want to keep your eye on tonight.
Yeah.
He's looked strong in some of these midget races.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else got any picks out there? Anybody want to pick anybody? Maurice says Carson or Buddy or Carson Macedo have been the fastest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just when I pick somebody, I go out. I try.
How about who's going to win the non-wing sprint cars tonight?
Ryan Timms. Why not?
That's who I'm picking. Yeah, no doubt. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the show. I want to thank Todd Surprise for all of his hard work here at Racing Boys. How many years has it been, Todd? 11 years?
It's 11 years.
When is it going to be 12?
Oh, not till the middle of we just hit 11, so.
That speaks what kind of a guy you are, Todd, to put up with us for that many years.
I appreciate you guys put up with me, too.
Hey, Todd, we're not that difficult, are we?
Nah.
Huh?
Just got to let some things have to roll off your back.
Just roll off your back a little bit, right?
It's some things you chalk up to experience.
You've never run off, and me and you've butted heads a time or two along the way, but you've never left, have you?
Nope. Like I said, experience.
So, Todd,
Right.
is it Kansas?
Todd, as you know better than anybody, that when I get a little pissy, I only stay that way for about 10 minutes, don't I?
He has the race car mentality, and you can't stay mad on something that happened on corner 1 if you're going to keep racing into corner 4. It just ain't going to work.
Right.
I mean, you can do it for a while and hold that grudge, but it ain't going to do anything, and so it's best just to move on. When you're in a live business, it's different when you're working in retail or moving furniture,
or
whatever, because you're doing that job all day. When we're live, if S blows up beside us, we got to keep moving on. You can't freak out. You just have to move on.
But isn't it the truth? I get over it real quick.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Kirk,
right in and out.
Kirk knows better than anybody, don't you, Kirk? Me and you have argued a time or two over the years.
I've learned how to do it watching Kirk.
And Kirk knows as well as anybody. Just let me pop off for a few minutes and I'll be all right. Right? Huh?
Let the steam blow and let it roll.
It's
Kirk,
all good.
Anytime we've ever had any kind of tiff, we've never let it interfere with us personally, have we? Have we? Never. That's why we've been together for 22 years.
That's right.
Right?
It's been a good show.
Yeah.
But I just want to say this. Alston O'Neill, we appreciate all you've done for us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Your good luck in racing, and thank you for all you've done for us.
Right.
So we appreciate that.
That's right.
Todd, I got one question
Yes,
for
sir.
you. Kansas State or Kansas? You're a Kansas guy.
I pay money to Kansas.
You're paying in.
Who wins that game tonight, Kansas State or Kansas?
I think Kansas has some pent up, getting their sand kicked in their face for so many years, from that rivalry, that I think Kansas is going to pull it off tonight. I honestly do. I think that Kansas,
that'd be the first time in how long?
Forever. For a long time.
Let me just say, I am really enjoying being able to talk about other stuff besides motorsports.
Well, as well as I do.
You've always done that.
Yeah.
We've always been able to mix it up on anything, and at the end of the
race,
race,
we've been doing it a long time, Todd.
That's right.
Especially this time of the year when we don't have a lot of racing to talk
Marie
about.
says, Michigan, go blue.
How about that?
I think Michigan does get it done today for the first time in a long time. Those two teams are undefeated. Ohio State's won how many in a row now? I think that might come to an end today.
Huh? How about that?
I'm going to go with Michigan to win.
If you're here in Kansas City,
you're making Marie happy.
There you go.
That's all I can say.
Well, if you're in Kansas City, you can listen on the College Game Day going on right now as we speak.
Are we going to win tomorrow, Todd?
Yeah,
Chiefs?
tomorrow I feel pretty good about the game.
Chiefs and the Rams.
Rams and Chiefs.
The Rams are terrible.
They're beat up. They're having some really injury problems.
They've only won 3 games, and they're the defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
They've only won 3 games.
They caught lightning in a bottle.
They did.
In that championship game. Odell was there. Things were rolling right.
Right.
They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. When I had them on the schedule, they were one of the ones because they were defending champions. Obviously, that was if I went back and I looked at my preseason predictions, and that was one of the ones I had a very close game. And when I went back, I thought, well, this one could go either way. But it's gonna be a good game tomorrow. I still haven't ruled out.
Don't sleep on them.
Yeah, and that's the thing I like about the Chiefs. nowadays. They don't sleep on a lot of teams.
No.
Well, this is the NFL. You can't sleep on anybody.
We saw that.
Any team can beat any
team,
right,
anywhere, any day.
Go.
Right. Yeah,
so
no doubt.
I may be out there. Though. I ain't going to rule out if somebody called and had a ticket.
You might go.
It's supposed to be pretty still decent day. They may not get too many real nice days of
Right.
Chiefs reason. So
I was real excited the other night. I was watching that Vikings game the other night.
Yeah.
And a former Cyclone
I saw
ran
that.
back 97 yards
I
kickoff
saw that.
return.
I saw that.
Keen Winju.
Picked
we
up-
saw him. Iowa State. What a big play that was.
20 mile an hour he hit on that return.
He ran 20 miles an hour?
Fast, man.
That's pretty damn
Zipped
fast.
right down the line there, didn't he?
He was getting it.
All right, Todd. Thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Again, for Todd's Prize, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us here on Track Talk. It's all been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. It works. We'll see you Monday, Mostly Motorsports, 12 noon Central Time, right here on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com. We'll see you Monday.
Track Talk.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.